Welcome back, of course, folks. You know you're here. It's all about the Mass Breathers Morning Show. We do want to apologize for that slight break in transmission. We had to get our internet issues all resolved, but hopefully it looks like and it seems like they may be resolved to a certain point. We were just having a conversation, and I want to get back into that conversation. We were just here live speaking with the talented Tavia Hunt. Tavia Hunt, once again, good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Kenny.
All right. So before we took that slight break, I was saying that how or at what age did you realize that you could actually dance? When did that click for you?
At about 16 years of age, as a child, I really did always love dancing. It was a natural thing for me. I enjoyed it immensely. But I grew up in the country. I still live in the country. I'm from Swiss Village, and I
Okay.
spent all of my time at home. My mom was a district nurse for the community, and so I never ventured into St. John's. I wasn't socialized in that part of Antigua until I got older, and so I didn't know that there was, different dance communities out there. And so when I stumbled upon Rowan South Dance Group, I immediately made that space my home, and that's where my
Hmm.
official training began.
Okay, but you said you used to dance before that. Sort of what is dancing at home?
My
What was that?
mom, because my mom was, I would say, a community servant. She
Hmm.
she was a midwife, and she delivered half of the community that are now
Wow.
older people. And so she had a lot of social activities coming to our home. She would host
Hmm.
parties, or my birthday parties were at home. Her friends, they would come for dinner parties and so on. So I spent time watching older people come home to entertain and be entertained by my dancing. And once the music started, I was the first and last person on the dance floor. So everybody knew me for that. But it was just very natural for me. I didn't know then that it was such a huge platform that I would venture into until I was almost turning 16 when I found VS Dance School.
Okay, so at 16 years old, you got into dancing on what we can consider a more of a professional level, a
Yeah,
more trained level, if you want to call it that.
yes, yes. It was
Um,
definitely with that.
did you know at that point that you wanted to make your career in dance, or it
Actually,
was?
no. I was so immersed in the excitement and the passion of it, the experience, that I
Mhm.
just wanted to dance. Literally, like I couldn't eat, sleep, everything, school, homework, dance class. That was my routine. And every day was just consumed with me thinking about what I was going to be doing in dance class. I think when I reached about 19, thereabout, I started thinking about, okay, high school is over. I'm at state college.
Mhm.
Turning 18. Where do I go? What do I do in my life? And at that time, everyone is asking you, what do you want to be? What is your career path? Because I have nurses, teachers, doctors in my family, and everybody's so certain what they want to be. But I was very much like, I don't know. I didn't want to be a nurse. I really didn't want to be anything, and I didn't want to disappoint anyone. So I tried to fit myself into other ideals. And I realized that it wasn't going to happen to me. A lot of people said, oh, you could work in a bank because, you've got the skin and you went to A levels. And honestly, every time I tried to picture myself in that setting, it really, really didn't work for me. And I eventually got brave, and I said to my mom, I don't want to do anything else but dance. And trust me, she got a lot of flack for that. A lot of people told me, oh, you're throwing away your education. You have, well, back then, passing 7 CXCs was a big thing, right? You hire CXC, and
Mhm.
you're going to disappoint your family. What dance is that? Is that a real job? And, you know, um, a lot of people laughed at my choice. A lot of people thought that I really didn't have a lot of sense. But to be honest with you, Kenny, I am sure as a person that loves music, you can understand what that does for you. And
Yeah.
there's no explaining it to somebody. It's something you have to experience. You have to know what that is. And
Hmm.
I just took the biggest chance of my life and I decided, listen, if it's not going to be dance, it's not going to be anything. And today, God, I'm happy that I made that choice. So I'm really satisfied now.
You know, a lot of the times you would have parents who have children who are creatives, and we don't always get to see the bigger picture. We don't always get to see our children who are creatives. We tend to not think that they can make a career from the things that they're creative in doing. At what point did that change for your family? Were they supportive of you going into dance as a career from day one, or were they like, or were they still like, you might need to get a regular job? And if they weren't that way, at what point did they say, hey, I think you might be onto something here?
It was half and half for me. Most definitely, my mother was in my corner. She was my
Okay.
soldier. Everybody else was kind of like, you're making a mistake. Even my boyfriend at the time, who's now my husband, he
Hmm.
did not understand why I wouldn't stop wasting my time and get a real job. And I can understand the point you make where parents are scared because the economy then and
Hmm.
even now does not really support the creative
Hmm.
entrepreneur. And there are not structures in place to provide for us in a way that you could see yourself building a future, and especially if
Hmm.
you're going to have a family. So I totally understood that risk. When I went to dance school
Hmm.
and found a world structured to support and educate the creative person in a way that could fit into what we would call a secular world where you have a business mindset, where you
Hmm.
understand how to manage your skill and your finances, my options got really wide. And that is because we live in a small island and we're tourism based.
Hmm.
You need a job that pays you weekly.
Right.
We weren't living in a time when we were younger where people would pay to see you dance. I mean, that was something you did as a hobby or you did in
Right.
church.
Right.
So my return to Antigua after I had an amazing 4 years in Jamaica, I came back with a mindset to change the culture or rather impact the culture
Hmm.
by letting people respect my art form because I am very intelligent and I'm not going to apologize for saying that because when I went to dance school, my curriculum was so packed with everything from psychology to kinesiology. I did history, math,
Wow.
English.
Kinesiology is
Yes, the study of the
interesting.
human body.
Yes. Yes.
At
Yes.
one point, I was like, "Am I in medical school? What is this?" I mean, my first year, I was in such a total culture shock because in my mind, I thought, "Oh, I was just gonna dance every day and sweat up a storm." But listen, I sometimes I spent nights crying because the paperwork and the reading and the essays were just so much. I almost threw my computer to a wall one time because I just finished writing like a 2,500 word essay, about to click the button and the computer went black. You know that kind of
Wow.
frustration, right? And so these are the kind of studies that I went under in a performing arts school. And my lecturers were very articulate and
Mhm.
intelligent people. And let me tell you, some of them had so many piercings in their face, you would wonder if they drink water, if it would come out of their skin. These people presented themselves in so many different ways. I had people who wore suits, I had people who were filled with tattoos, I had teachers who were filled with piercings, and
Mhm.
they were all extremely well articulate and well versed in their knowledge of what they were teaching. So that showed me, listen, I didn't need to fit into a frame. I just needed to know my craft. I needed to understand what I was giving to my students, my clients, and the community at large. So I became so well rounded,
Mhm.
more educated than I ever thought I would be in a performing arts school. Though when I came back home, I had to spend at least 10 years working on changing people's perspectives, where the art form and culture is concerned. I'm still on that journey. It has not been easy. People still call me and talk to me about the way I behave, and it's not decent, and the things that I do, and but I understand. I do, and I don't take it personally anymore because I truly understand. We live in an evolving world, and we're just a part of it.
Mhm.
And when you step out of this island or step out of the box, as we like to say, you realize that if you don't get brave to defend what you love, you're going to get lost in the dust. And your children and the people that are coming after them, they're going to be 10 times behind, and we don't want that. So
Right, right.
artists are people who make valuable contributions to their spaces. Without us, life would not be worth living. There would not be anything to keep you happy, healthy, moving. And
Mhm.
I feel like the way that the world is evolving now, it is time to put us on the top of the ladder because our skills and our services are going to be what people need more than anything right now.
That's true. So let's go back a little bit. You went to study professionally in Jamaica.
Yes.
Did you get a scholarship to go to study, or did you have to pay out of your pocket to get
It
there?
was half and half. I didn't have money to afford going to dance school, which is why I didn't get there until I was 26 years old.
Hmm.
So even though I started with Veron at 16, it was just 10 years later that I finally got an opportunity that would allow me to travel. And I was very fortunate. I got the PAT scholarship from the Board of Education.
Hmm.
And it was minimal in the sense that it couldn't cover my living expenses and all of that. But with that and the support of then my husband and my family member, very few of them, I was
Hmm.
able to make it happen. And you know, it worked. I mean, God saw me through, and I'm very grateful for that. There were some days, and I didn't really know, if I was going to get to the end of it, but I did. And since I've been back, I have been in the service of teaching the craft. So I have paid back my dues to the board. You have to do the 2 years of service when they grant you the scholarship, and I'm still doing it. So I did get a little help, but I do feel that in the future, our government could make better efforts in investing a little bit more money into persons who want to pursue areas of the performing arts because it's a lucrative business out there. And I
Hmm.
think that if we can prepare ourselves, we could tap into that and do really, really well.
All right. So between, let's say, when you were 18 years old, because that would be when you were an adult,
Yeah.
to 26, 27, just before you went away to study professionally, were you able to make a livelihood from dancing during that time? Or and
Well,
if so, how were you able to make a livelihood?
um, that was interesting. So I still living at home.
Okay.
I'm still living at home, so I didn't have any overhead expenses. Thank you. And I had only had my first child then. So my son
Okay.
was young. And so, I got help from family looking after him. His father played a very, very good role in his life. So I had support
Hmm.
where looking after my son was concerned. But as far as for me, because I didn't have overhead expenses like rent and so on, I
Hmm.
was dancing in hotels. And let me tell you, I have danced at every single hotel on this island except for a new hotel that probably built the other day, the one behind Veranda Resort up there,
Yes,
right?
yes, 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 yes.
I have danced in every single hotel on this island and with various other dancers. And so when I got my own dance school,
Hmm.
because when I used to dance with Veron Stout, we entertained. We didn't get actual pay. So that was what I was just doing that for fun. But when I started my own group, I negotiated, a little better with the managers of the various hotels.
Hmm.
Some of them were more generous than others. And I
Hmm.
would split the money between myself and my dancers that I would take. So I was the boss. And we used to dance, let's say sometimes 4 to 5 times a week.
Right.
So for an 18-year, 19-year-old girl, you getting $500 a week. You feel kind of good, because you can buy one jeans. And again, I did not have to pay rent. I was still living at home. I was still eating out of my mother's pot. So
Hmm.
that money really made me happy had I had more common sense, business sense back then. I might have saved some of it. But I was so excited to have money for the first time that God knows I started doing my nails and buy weave, and I splurted it all. By the time I caught myself a couple of years later, I was in tears because I'm like, gosh, I'm broke. But but what it did for me psychologically, it gave me hope, and it did give me a
Mhm,
little bit of independence that,
mhm,
there is something in this. Like, if I could look back from now to then, I would have made different choices because now I have so much more sense than I did then. But
mhm.
I am like any other young person that is coming up. We have to live to learn,
Right,
and we have to make these mistakes, or I'll have these experiences, because the people that I used to dance with, they're still dancing with me. And
right.
when they used to make $50, they made 60, 80, and then 100 and more. And now I went from dancing at various hotels to a point where I started feeling like it was slave work,
Mhm.
because trust me, there's the other side to that experience that, we would need another show for that. But after a while, it started wearing on me, the wear and tear of having to go out every night and perform for tourists, and then as the economy changed, living expenses went up. So then working for $50 no more was feasible.
Right, right.
And as the economy got different, we ended up leaving. So I
Okay.
spent a good amount of years with my dancers, almost 10 years to be exact, doing that type of service. But for them as well as me, it was pocket change. And
Mhm.
then these girls became mothers.
Right.
And then they had other life responsibilities. And so the interest started waning because, like we said earlier, the economy not supporting this as a career, full-time
Mhm,
job,
mhm, mhm,
right? So after that spin,
mhm.
and then I realized that after having made so much money and then now I'm broke, I went to school. And
Okay.
that's when the whole thing changed. Yeah.
So when did the dance school or creating? Because of course you said you were with her and stuff for a while. When did you, when you came back and you decided after you came back from school, when did you decide to create your own dance school and what was that like?
Well, to be honest with you, I started Shivas long before I went to Edna Manley. So
Oh,
I
so
left, yeah, I left Veronta. I stayed with Veronta for roughly about 4 to 5 years.
mhm,
And then I left in my early 20s. Maybe I was about 21, thereabout. And so my journey with Shivas started just like in the living room of one of my friends. And we spinned off from there. Then I went to Antigua Trades and Labor Union Hall. Then I
mhm.
went to the Antigua Workers Union Hall. Then I danced at Traffic, the old Traffic
I,
nightclub. And
I I I remember Antigua Workers Union Hall. I remember that because I used to go there for typing. They used to have
okay, yes,
typing. They used to have
yes.
typing. I don't know why.
Upstairs,
I was young.
upstairs.
I was.
Right,
I'm not giving my age. It was a long time ago, but I remember I used to go there, and
right.
you guys used to practice upstairs. I remember that.
Yep,
I
yep.
remember that.
I mean, because the building was high, right? A lot
Mhm.
of the smoke from buildings and the cruise ships and so on used to come through the windows, right? Because the windows are always open. And
Right.
the floor, when we would finish dancing, God, our feet were black
Wow.
and our skin had on dirt, but we didn't care because we were so happy to be doing what we were doing. And again, it was new. The Shiva's dance school idea was very new, and all of the people that were coming at the time, some of them, it was their first time being able to dance and train with somebody who they deemed knew more than them. At that time, I wasn't trained, as in, went to school or anything like that other than Varan. So I was basically imparting what I learned from her. And it was
Right.
very fulfilling. And we grew into a family. So when I went to dance school,
Hmm.
Chivas at that time was just about a group of 8.
Right.
And those girls are still with me today. And their children are now dancing in the Shiva School of Dance family. So you could understand that this is a legacy. It's a very connected, sentimental experience for me because I am living through generations now,
Mm-hmm.
seeing the seeds that I've planted all those years ago and see it still blossoming. So it's a beautiful feeling for me, you know. When I came back from Edna Manley, I only had about 8 of them, and they kept the dance school kind of functioning
For the
by
4 years?
maintaining. Yes, for the 4 years I was
Wow.
gone.
Wow.
What they would do is they would ensure that they still went out and perform. They would still make up their own dances and practice.
Mm-hmm.
And those girls, Danielle Bridgewater, Candace Samuel, Elizabeth Gilbert, I can't remember everybody's name right now, but those are some of the women that believed in this whole vision. You know, I don't think it's that they actually only believed in me, but they believed in the vision. And I
Mm-hmm.
always said to them, girls, one of these days we're gonna build a dance school, we're gonna have our own dance family, we're gonna have a studio, and we're gonna do this, this, this. And I am proud to say that I'm actually on course with
Mm-hmm.
fulfilling that. And I think that is what has motivated them to stick with me and with the vision. And so when I came back from Edna, I came back with business sense.
Mm-hmm.
So you remember I left Antigua, didn't have a place for a dancer as a career, right?
Right.
And I can't go now and tell people, listen, you need to pay me this amount of money for 5 or 10, 15 minutes to dance because they're gonna be like, oh, it's just 5 minutes. But it took me hours to produce that 5 minutes for you.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to pay me for my time. I couldn't come back home and have this conversation with people who weren't ready for it. So I came
Right.
back home to open up a dance school and run it with a little bit of structure and a
Mm-hmm.
little bit of business so
Mm-hmm.
that people could change the way they see what I do. And it has worked successfully. I'm so pleased. I've had some amazing people come into my life to teach me ins and out of things. Because again, when people see you working sincerely from your heart on something, the creator always sends the right people into your space to help show you the way. And that has been evident for me. So
Mm-hmm.
today I am still on the journey and Shiva School of Dance has become a household name. And it is an evolving experience because I still think as a teacher, a choreographer, I'm still evolving. My work has not reached its peak. You know, I still have so much to learn. So for me, I'm just enjoying the process. We've been able to send our first principal student to Jamaica to follow in my footsteps,
Mm-hmm.
Denisha Simon. She's now pursuing her bachelor's degree with the support of the dance school and the support of the Board of Education and the support of the Prime Minister's Award scholarship. So combined with her family, we are all now giving her the opportunity that I was given to join this army that I've started in advocating for the arts. We deserve respect, Kenny. We deserve to be paid for our
Mm-hmm.
efforts, but we have to let people do that. We have to let people respect us by the way we conduct business. And if you are creative and you don't have business sense, you're going to starve. That's
Let me
just how I see it.
let me ask you another question. I would imagine that, with Carnival in Antigua and Barbuda, you've probably worked along with so many different soca artists to choreograph things within their competition runs, or with Carnival Queen contestants
Yes.
who are maybe doing a dance piece or something of that sort. Has any one of those pieces of work that you've done with people like that, what's the most memorable ones to you? Which one stands out the most?
Wow. That's a tough question. Wow. Why can't you put me in a spot there, you know? My most memorable.
Or even if you
I
can list a
believe
couple.
I believe that there too.
Mm-hmm.
When TZ came out with Antigonize
Mm-hmm.
and she entered that year, I think
Mm-hmm.
I was on stage. It was a huge amount of dancers. It was the biggest cohort of dancers I've ever been on the carnival stage with because it's a combination of my dance group and her sisters, Elite and their members. So it was like almost 20 of us, I believe. And we
Mm-hmm.
were decked out in these beautiful carnival costumes and so on. And the energy of that coming together was very memorable for me. And the next one was when Claudette did Dippy Dippy Dum Day Dum Day.
Yeah,
When she did
yeah.
that one, oh God, that was so fun. Burger, I think, was on her team, and they orchestrated the whole performance, and we had
Mhm.
umbrellas, and then there was a part where the hurricane was throwing us off the stage because the wind was so bad, and
Right,
I
right.
think those two, because of the way that they put the production together,
Hmm.
and it was very theatrical and very energetic, and I had just come back from dance school, so I was fit,
Hmm.
my
Hmm.
body was right,
Hmm.
and I think too that would have been my first stage performance, having returned home for vacation from dance school. So
Right.
I think that would have really been something that stayed with me. But I have performed with a variety of artists. Ricardo Drew, um, Nature Kid.
Hmm.
Everybody, bankers.
Hmm.
Or I've trained a lot of contestants to the Queen Show. But
Hmm.
again, there are challenges, and it's not something that I actually aspire to do as much anymore, because people need to understand you can't pick up a talent of a competition.
Right.
It's something you gotta hone. It's something you gotta be, be crafting and grooming all the time, and then you bring somebody in to put the finishing touches on you. So a lot of times, training, especially for pageantry, has proved to be very stressful, and then the reward. I hate when girls put so much work and then they end up crying backstage because maybe they didn't win, they didn't play. It's very heartbreaking for trainers and contestants, and it's hard for them to understand that everybody can't win at that point. So for
True.
me, because it's such a heartbreaking experience, sometimes I try not to set myself up for that. So if I can't do it and I can't be sure that the person is competent to deliver this competition with some conviction, I tend to try not to, because again, for me, it's deeper than that.
Okay. Right now, we're going through a pandemic in the world, and with everything from isolations to social distancing, the creative industry has taken quite a hit from COVID-19.
Yeah.
Persons aren't able to go out to perform, persons aren't able to express themselves in the way that they would have normally been able to. How have you been able to, or what has been happening with you and dance during this time? Or what advice do you have to anybody in that creative space during this time?
Well, Kenny, for the first 3 weeks, I went into total depression. I slept
Wow.
until 4, 5 o'clock in the afternoon because I just wanted the day to be finished. At night,
Hmm.
because I'm usually at dance classes at night, and I'm normally, physically exercising, dancing, pumping blood until about 10. And then I would get home at 11 and I am
Hmm.
tired. At night, I can't
Hmm.
sleep because all this energy, and mentally, I'm not supposed to be resting. I am actually up
Hmm.
until sometimes 5 o'clock in the morning. And then I get tired. Eventually, my eyes can't stay open any longer. I'm watching Netflix till I'm weak, and I sleep the rest of the day. And I found that I was getting frustrated because our work is contact based and our work is
Hmm.
energy based. And so when you find that you can't connect to the people that you love, the people that you look forward to every day, it does take a toll on you. And that happened to me. So after 3 weeks, I was almost in bed. Literally, I mean, my husband had me forking up dirt in the yard, planting seeds in the afternoon, watering plants, and
Hmm.
learning to be a good little farmer lady. And to be honest with you, it felt like a chore because I'm not accustomed to doing that. And
Hmm.
I had to condition my mind to stick with that program because I was thinking, oh, I should be dancing right now. I would be at dance class right now. And this is just a lot of work. And then I got accustomed to it. But one of the challenges that I had, apart from me, being so depressed because I couldn't continue my craft, was
Hmm.
I missed my students immensely. And I tried to have online classes where we
Hmm.
could have Zoom sessions. And my internet sucked so badly that I would be buffering and I would be in front of the camera and I'm exercising my tail off. And I'm like, but nobody's moving. Why nobody moving? But Tavia, you stuck. You now move. I can't see nothing. And I went through that for an entire week. Day after day,
Wow.
we would go back and I would try, but you know what? My internet service is not good. And these are one of the challenges that I am having. So whereas my wider artist community, my
Mm-hmm.
colleagues who live abroad, they're offering online classes and they're doing their Zoom sessions and they're getting people to subscribe to their
Mm-hmm.
sessions. I can't because I'm going to be embarrassed and I just can't offer it at that level because I don't have the internet to support it. And I think this is something that we need to look at, not just for artists, but for people who are going to need to bring their services online. And to be
Mm-hmm.
honest with you, Kenny, I really hope it gets back to some kind of better normal because I don't know how long it's going to take for me to get into this virtual communication where the body is concerned. I'm still getting accustomed to that.
Okay. In that same vein, you do an event every year as well.
Yeah.
If things don't get back to what is considered normal, do you consider or do you think that you probably do a virtual or an online version of that event?
I think that it will happen. How that is up to our creative sparks. But I think it's a conversation that all of us are going to have to get into. I myself am thinking, you know, how am I going to transition if this becomes something that goes on for much longer than I anticipate? And
Mm-hmm.
I do believe that that is going to have to be the situation. But
Mm-hmm.
again, it's all very new for us.
Mm-hmm.
We're not humanly created for this to be a natural thing for us. So I guess too, we'll have to look to our younger generation because they are also, they're more tech savvy and then they're more versed and it's more normal for them. But, I'm 40. I am still learning how to navigate TikTok and my daughter doesn't know how to even do it.
Oh, wow.
So,
Listen, I know I am going to be the last person in the world to activate a TikTok account, you know?
but
So,
well, listen, join the line, right? Because I activated the account and I don't have no followers because I ain't following nobody. I'm like, oh, you're supposed to do that. So trust me, it's a work in progress. But I'm working on a TikTok video today, so hopefully I'll be
oh,
in things soon. Yeah,
post it on
my
Facebook.
dancing to them, keep me up to
Post,
date.
post it on Facebook when you finish so I can see it.
Yeah, man. There's a new dance challenge that I'm working out on, right? So yeah, I'm coming soon. Don't worry. I'm
All
old,
right.
but I'm not cold.
All right. Sounds good. Now, before I let you go, is there anything else you want to let the people out there know, the fans, the persons who are listening?
Um, yes, I want to extend my love to the whole nation
Mm-hmm.
because we're all in this together.
Mm-hmm.
I want to encourage the parents because apart from being a dance teacher, I'm also a lecturer
Mm-hmm.
and I do teach in the formal classroom as well. So I have students that I impact outside of my dance space. I want to encourage them to see this as an opportunity for them to evolve and
Mm-hmm.
don't see it as something for you to regress because life is about going forward. And whatever this thing presents to us as a people, we are by duty supposed to move forward. We are not a people that give up and we're not here to be beaten. So while we're all home, and trust me, this struggle is unique for all of us, but together we're in it. And I just want all of us to stay happy to my dancers, stay motivated, keep dancing. I love you guys. I miss my dance family. To the people who support Shiva School of Dance, thank you from the bottom of my heart. You are making so many dreams possible because you motivate us to keep going. And for those people who don't understand what I do or why, thank you. It allows me to keep finding ways to be better, to communicate more. And I think the whole world right now just needs to focus on staying positive. So, Kenny, we are artists. We are
Mm-hmm.
a part of the art community.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is our time now to motivate the world. We have the dance, we have the music, we have the art. People need to see the things now that stimulate their other senses, the invisible part of them that needs to stay alive. And I am happy to be a part of that. So You play music, I'll dance to it,
Well,
and we make life.
well, you see, let me tell you, I saw a post. My good friend, Diddy from Sister Soldiers, she posted something on Facebook yesterday, I think, which was basically, what are you grateful for during this time of isolation and lockdown? And I think that without this isolation coming into place and without this lockdown coming into place, this show, this Mass Breathers show, would probably never happen.
Right?
To be very honest with you, I started this because, with everything happening with the lockdown, I had nothing else to do at home, in a sense. And I decided, you know what? I'm going to continue doing the things that I love and the things that I now have time to do in terms of speaking with persons that I would always want to have a conversation with. This is just my opportunity to get to have conversations with persons that I would want to speak to. And
Yeah.
this is what this came to light from that because of the whole lockdown situation. So
I think
I'm
it's
gonna,
amazing, Kenny.
yeah, I think I'm going to try to continue doing this for as long as I can. Of course, it'd be lovely if corporate um, persons can come and try to
Yeah.
offer or lend some assistance. And I wouldn't even say assistance because I'm not necessarily looking assistance. That's not what I'm looking. I can provide you something that you would not be able to get. Period.
Right.
So it's not assistance. I'm not looking handouts. But
That's right.
but this sort of conversations, I want to continue doing that, and I want to continue giving persons who I think have such a wonderful, history that we don't celebrate it. We don't get a chance to talk about it very often. You know what I'm saying? I've never really gotten a chance to just, unless you were probably doing something where you were promoting something. I don't think I've ever really gotten a chance to see an interview with you where we
That's
was
true.
just talking to you about
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to create those sort of moments with this and just have conversations with people, just talk to people that I think are cool or interesting or I think has a good story to share. And we go from there. But Tavia, thank you so much.
Thank you, Kenny.
I'm going
Really
to
wonderful.
I'm going to try to have my coffee or something now and eat my breakfast because I didn't get to do that for the day. It's weird. With this show, I think I work more now than I probably did before this lockdown.
Really?
I work every day preparing for these things and always constantly trying to, because I try to be a week ahead in terms of who I have to interview.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm always trying to reach out to people. I'm always trying to figure out new things to do on the show. So I probably work more now doing this than I probably was working. And I was working a lot even before this, right?
Yeah.
But this is
Yeah.
this is always going. It's always I'm in front of my laptop and I'm trying to get certain things done. I'm sending out emails. I'm doing this. I'm following up on people. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. So I'm glad for that. And I'm glad for you joining me here today.
Thank you,
Thank you
Kenny.
so much.
It's been great.
Yeah, thank you. I want to see. Hopefully your internet connection gets worked out because I would love to see some sort of online dance and so on.
Oh, God.
I'm waiting for that.
Talk to them for me, Kenny. Beg, tell them. If you were I came home. Help me out.
Thank you once again, man, and you enjoy the rest of your day. Okay.
Thank you, Kenny. Have a great one.
Thank you. All right, guys. Of course, that was the Mass Breathers Morning Show guest, Tavia Hunt. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to actually go get my breakfast. I need a haircut so badly. It's rough. It's rough, but you know how it is. We're in lockdown, so I can't get to any barbers. I can't get to nicen this up at all. So thank you once again for all the folks who tuned into the Mass Breathers Morning Show, and thank you to our guest, Tavia Hunt. Tomorrow on the show, we're going to be featuring Senator Colin James. He's going to be on the show with me tomorrow, so please make sure you tune in for that. We're going to be talking about everything he's done from journalism to sports in Antigua and Barbuda, so look out for that as well. And thank you for all those who tuned into the Mass Breathers Morning Show. And until next time, peace.